What's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to give you my full review on the brand new Galaxy wearable from Samsung. This of course is the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, and quite honestly, other than the $500 price tag after tax here in New York, I really don't know what's pro about this watch. But let's get into my review and tell you a little bit more about it. Before we get into my review, guys, once again, this is about $500 after tax at the moment. I'll leave a link to the latest pricing down in my description below, as well as a little coupon so you can save a little bit of coin. And if you're not new to my channel, you know I rarely talk about price. I hate saying if something is worth it or is this really worth the price tag, because it really depends on your wallet. It really depends on you as a person and how much you're willing to spend on a brand new shiny piece of tech. You might think $500 is nothing. You might think that this is the best looking watch on the planet and you just want it. And that's what tech is here for. Tech is supposed to make us happy. So regardless of price point, whatever makes you happy, just go out and buy it. Just like I want to buy a pickup truck, but I'm definitely never going to be able to haul anything. I'm not going out there and really doing anything that warrants having a pickup truck, but I just want it. So eventually I am going to buy a pickup truck. And that's the same with the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro here. They call it Pro. It's really going after the Garmin's of the world. I think Samsung's really trying to gun for Garmin watches, and they haven't done it yet, and I'm going to get into that in just a little bit, but I just wanted to mention that one key fact. The Pro moniker on the Galaxy Watch 5, I really don't think it should have been here. It's not really a Pro watch. Other than the 1.4-inch sapphire glass that we have here now and the titanium build, which is all good and dandy, but they got rid of the one key feature that really made a Galaxy Watch Classic stand out from the crowd, really made that bigger, larger Galaxy Watch stand out, and that was the actual rotating crown. Now, they do have this digital crown here, but I really don't like it. You're smudging up the screen, and it's just not the same. Now, once again, I might just be stuck in the past with the older model, but it's something that I really enjoyed, and I know a lot of you enjoyed it as well. If you still have the Classic or you didn't upgrade because they got rid of the actual rotating crown, let me know down in the comments below. But the watch from Samsung definitely has a lot going for it. It's a nice looking watch in my opinion. This again is a titanium model, and they do have different bands available. This is the Extreme Sport band. 22mm bands are the way to go, and if you want to change them, all you have to do is swap them out really quickly. And one of the bands that I really like personally is this D-buckle band. I think it's well worth the extra price tag. It's just super comfortable. And once you get used to wearing it, it's something that I actually leave on my wrist more often than not. I think it's just a nice looking band, and again, it's really easy just to kind of set your right size and forget it. But one thing I don't like about Samsung's design when it comes to watch bands, and I'm not going to talk too much about watch bands, but I definitely love my watch bands. I don't like this curved design, and it definitely makes it hard if you're trying to charge this on the go and you have a wireless puck. It's not going to charge, and you can't reverse charge on your phone unless you take off the bands. So I kind of think this was a bad move. Now I know why Samsung did it. They claim it's a little bit more friendly on the wrist, if you will, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable. But quite honestly, regular bands that have been on watches forever are super, super comfortable. Now just taking a look at the size of these two watches, this happens to be the Garmin Tactix 7. You can see it's a larger watch, but it's not as tall as a Samsung watch. This is definitely a larger puck on the wrist than this beast of a watch from Garmin. You can see that there. Definitely sits higher on the wrist, and believe it or not, this feels a little bit heavier than the Garmin watch. Now, weight is something I don't usually talk about either, but I did notice that this feels a little bit heavier in terms of fatigue on my wrist when I was running or when I was hiking for a while. Now again, just do a little wrist exercises and you're going to be just fine. But I want to get into some of the things that I like about the Galaxy Watch and some of the things that I'm really disappointed, especially with that Pro name, especially when Samsung is trying to gun after Garmin. And Apple's trying to do the same thing too, and they really have a long way to go, but we'll see how it goes in the next couple of iterations. Again, they are using premium materials, and that's going to warrant that higher price tag, if you will. This is a 1.4-inch beautiful AMOLED panel covered in sapphire glass, and the body's titanium, so if you are doing a lot of activities, this is going to be a little bit more durable than last year's model, but it is using the same processor as last year, the W920 Exynos processor, which is on a 5nm process. 16 gigabytes of RAM, 1.5 gigabytes of storage, a massive 590 milliamp hour battery, which means that this should run for days and days and days. Not really days and days and days. We'll talk about battery life in just a little bit as well. But if you ever had a Galaxy watch before or any type of Wear OS watch, it's pretty similar. You have all these little pages that you can swipe over, and you can kind of see different things at a glance, like your stress level. You can get your heart rate measured right away. You can see your ECG, but you do need a Samsung phone for this. And again, at a higher price point, I know Apple does it, but this is Android. I would have liked to have seen Samsung get rid of that Samsung requirement. And the same goes for a temperature sensor that's inside of this watch, but I believe you're not able to use it just yet. Sleep tracking is here, and you do also have your body composition. And what I like about this body composition is it actually seems pretty accurate. I just did a reading on my Garmin scale, and these are the two readings that I got, one from the watch and one from the scale. So it's pretty impressive that the watch did a really nice job. Again, I don't know how accurate these are. I take them all with a grain of salt, but it's nice that it's there. Swiping down, you also have quick toggles here, and you can add toggles. It's very customizable. And thankfully, for those of you that had the old Galaxy Watch, we finally do have the Google Assistant. It took Samsung a very, very long time. What's the weather?
Right now in New York, it's 80 degrees and partly cloudy.
Who's the President of the United States?
Joe Biden.
Where's the closest Starbucks?
I found a few Starbucks locations near you.
So again, the Google Assistant is very useful on our wrist. Forget about Bixby. Don't even use Bixby. And you have all of your apps here. There's Samsung Pay. You can put Google Pay on here, and you also do have Maps. So again, very, very useful when it comes to a smartwatch. It's definitely a really nice smartwatch if you ask me. But again, I'm talking about the Pro moniker name here, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. And of course, you have tracking, and you have a whole bunch of different sports that you can track. Now, one thing I do want to mention when it comes to tracking is unless you get an accurate lock on GPS, your reading is going to be a little bit off. I went for a hike this weekend and I pressed start on my Galaxy Watch, and this is a problem that I've seen on just about every iteration of Galaxy Watches. When you go ahead and start an activity, let's just say running for example, it doesn't give you an indication of whether or not you have a lock on GPS, so it's going to start recording right away, and that just means that your statistics might be just a little bit off, because when you see that blinking location indicator there, it means it hasn't locked on, but it's still tracking as if it has locked on, so your accuracy is going to be off completely. That's something that I wish Samsung would take a little bit more pride in and kind of give us an indicator of whether or not I'm locked on to GPS or not. Now, the way around that is very simple. All you have to do is go into more and kind of wait for GPS before you click on any type of activity. But then again, why have a quick shortcut to walking if you're just going to start the activity without getting a lock on GPS? That's just something I don't really understand, but it is what it is. And again, that's why I'm saying this is not a pro model. This is not going after those athletes out there. In terms of actual fitness tracking, Samsung does a decent job, but now once again, because you don't have that lock on GPS, because you just press cycling instead of going through the actual menu and waiting for it to lock on the GPS, you kind of lose a little bit of distance. So here it is on my Garmin, 5876 miles, and on the Galaxy Watch, 58 miles. So you lose about 3/4 of a mile, which definitely adds up over time. But if we take a look at all of the different stats that Samsung versus Garmin give you, it's really no comparison. When it comes to Samsung, you'll see your average speed, your max speed. I don't know why lowest elevation did not calculate, but highest elevation is here. And if we take a look at it versus the Samsung Watch, max elevation 562, 524. So about the same. I'm really not gonna knock Samsung for that. And if we look at the heart rate here, 145 is going to be the average, 149 is here, so about the same. Max 175, max 178. So again, heart rate connectivity, heart rate accuracy, at least compared to my Garmin, is definitely on point. And you can see your different heart rate zones as well, so you can go in and you can see where exactly you spent most of your time. So if we take a look here, zone 5, 15%, this is about 6%, anaerobic, 43%, about 49. So definitely very different when it comes to how it's calculating heart rate zones. Now again, my Garmin knows a lot more about me than Samsung does, so maybe that's playing a little bit of a role. But you can go in and you can see your splits as well if you want to when it comes to a bike ride. And there's all your details. You can see your calories, your average speed once again, your total ascent, and that's basically it. Now when you take a look at a Garmin watch, for example, they're going to give you a lot more information. So you're going to see your average speed, which was there as well, but you can see your primary benefit. You can see your cadence if you connect Ant Plus. Now, Galaxy watches in the past did have support for Ant Plus. I believe there was 1 or 2 models. Now, it's escaping me at the moment, but I would say if you're calling this a pro model, why not bring back Ant Plus support? That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about it. But if you're going to call it a pro watch and try and go after the fitness people to get rid of their Garmin watches or Polar watches, give us and support back again. And other than that, guys, I really think that Samsung has a long way to go when it comes to software, when it comes to giving people what they want, when it comes to giving a little more information about what's going on with your stats and whatnot. To give Samsung credit though, their GPS tracking, when you look at the map itself, does a really good job. And you can see it's keeping me on the road. If we take a look at my bike right here, it's definitely keeping me on the road. And some places where a lot of GPS watches or trackers or whatnot really struggle is when you're actually inside New York City. But you can see on the West Side Highway here, it did go off a little bit. It definitely did struggle in New York City, but that's to be expected. Just about every device I test goes off in this area. There's a lot of interference. It is Manhattan. There's a lot of tall buildings. So you can see it veered off. I definitely did not veer off into the public restroom right over there. But once we get into a clear line of sight along the West Side Highway, it tracked nicely with a clear line of sight of the sky, no tall buildings and whatnot. So their GPS mapping software does a nice job when it comes to Samsung's accuracy. It's definitely on point with other devices out there. Now I just want to show you a little video that I made when I was out for a hike, and again, it's just proving the point that I wish there was a way to know that you were locked on the GPS, or I wish Samsung would not automatically start a workout without actually locking onto that satellite. So let's just take a look at my little video that I made. This is the problem with the Samsung Galaxy Watch, and it's always been the problem. So I've been hiking now for 33 minutes, and it just finally got a GPS lock. So it's only showing my distance as 0.03 miles. If I show you my Garmin watch, I've been hiking with both watches, 1.69 miles. Again, this one you have the option to either wait for GPS to lock on, or you can take your risks and just click start. With Samsung, you cannot do that. It just starts right away. So major fail, especially when you're going to call this a pro watch. I'm super upset, but I got to keep going with this hike anyway. And I'm going to restart it at the stop and then start it again. Huge disappointment, Samsung. All right, guys, let's just take a look at some of the key specs here. I've been hiking with this for a little while. And again, it's only showing 0.3 miles, which I think is a shame. On the Garmin watch, I'm almost at 2 miles here. And let's just kind of take a look at the elevation. Total ascent 494, elevation's about 870 or so. So I just want to show you that there. Now if we take a look at the Samsung watch, it's only showing 0.3 miles. Yes, I'm a little upset. Here's the altitude, 717, so that seems to be a little bit off. There's your calories. You can see how much time you spent in each specific heart rate zone. And if we click on here, you can see we have a couple options. So I'm just gonna go into settings. And you do have an option that you can track back. So let's just click on that and see what it's going to do for me. Again, this is a brand new feature on the Galaxy Watch here. Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Now, it's not really showing me any maps. Again, I do not have this connected to a phone because I want to use this just like I would without having a phone connected, because I think that's important when you call yourself a pro watch, and especially when you're trying to go after the Garmin's. So I think it just kind of ended my workout there. So again, I don't know. I'm not super excited with the Pro mode. Again, I do think if you're going to go after the Garmin's, which is what Samsung's doing. Now, I'm not hating on this 5 Pro, guys, but I don't think they should have called it a Pro at all. I don't think this is supposed to be a Pro watch, at least not in my opinion. I think it just should have been called the 5 Ultimate or something like that. Because again, at 500 bucks, it's not a cheap watch at all. But let's go into the compass here. If we go into our applications, here's our compass. The compass is about on par with the Garmin watch. No problems with that at all. But I do like the fact that on the Garmin watch, we do have a map. Again, I think that's super important. And RIP to the Suunto 7. I think Samsung could have done very well if they implemented that feature from the Suunto 7. If you guys recall, I'll leave a link to my video review. The Suunto 7, anytime you charge this, it would actually get your GPS location and download brand new maps for wherever you are in the world. So again, I think Samsung could have done that properly. Just download a 20-mile radius, a 30-mile radius of hiking maps, running maps, biking maps, all of those good stuff. So that anytime you're in a new area, it's going to download new maps for you, and you don't have to worry about transferring it from your phone or your computer. That's not what a Pro Watch is supposed to do. Pro Watch is supposed to make it super simple. I am going to start a new hiking activity because I definitely want to see if it's going to be accurate in terms of the actual mileage. Go in here, go to more, click on hiking. Now again, the problem with this is, even though I didn't get a GPS lock, you automatically start moving. And I think that's the problem with the Samsung Watch. It should tell you wait until you actually get a lock onto the signal. Going into the Garmin, clicking on hike, you're going to see that top bar there is going to show you when it's actually connected to GPS satellites. So I'm going to wait for that, and there we go. It only took a split second, but I think that's important, especially when you want to get detailed and as accurate results as you can from any type of tracking watch, any type of fitness watch. So I'm going to press start, and of course the Samsung Watch is already going. So let's head out, guys. We're going to go ahead and do this hike. Samsung, if you're listening, you're calling this a pro model, but you're not really giving us a lot of pro features. You're not really giving us any added benefit for this extra price. And I know it sounds like a rant, but it's really not, guys. I'm just telling you how it is. I'm just really comparing it to other competitors on the market that Samsung is trying to go after. Now, if you're in the market for the best Samsung wearable and you're all about that Samsung ecosystem, no doubt about it, this is the best watch to get. If you want to pay that $500 price point, this is a great watch to get. Or if you just like this watch and you just want to use it as a smartwatch, I would highly recommend the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro here. But if you're more of the aspiring athlete, if you're more of the active person, I would definitely look elsewhere. I think you have a couple more options out there that are going to be much more better suited for whatever you're trying to do. There is Samsung Health, so you can go in and you can see your daily activities. Again, this is 24-hour monitoring. It's going to monitor just about everything that you wanted to keep track of. Now, one thing I do want to mention when it comes to the Samsung Health application, and again, I'm not a super athlete, guys, but I do work out and I do like to see my stats. If you go into history, you're not really going to see a history. All you're going to see is this week, but what about prior weeks? What about any other type of activity that you've done? I really would like to see it on the watch itself. The whole point of having a smartwatch is not having to look at your phone every single time you want to check something out. So I would like to see Samsung update their history application, if you will. Why not just give us a running tally for the month? Why not give us a running tally for 2 months? It's just something I don't really understand. Once again, I'm just mentioning all of this because of the price tag and all of this because of that pro moniker. I would like to see all of my activities on the watch itself, not just for 1 week. You can see all of my activities from any Samsung watch that I've owned. And I've owned a bunch of Samsung watches, guys, so I'm not bashing Samsung. I'm just kind of pointing out some facts because they're pushing themselves into a new realm of wearables, if you will. But you also can monitor your sleep. You can see the amount of time, 6 hours and 45. How many calories I burned. That seems like a lot of calories while I'm sleeping. You can see your sleep score there, your actual sleep time. You can also see your awake, your REM, your light, and your deep time as well. And there are your stages. Then you can see your blood oxygen level, never below 90%. Snoring data. I don't snore, just like everyone says, so I don't turn that on. It's not something that I need. I need an extra device tracking me whether or not I snore. And again, sleep consistency. So if you wear this more and more, you're going to get a little bit more information. I'm not super big on actual sleep tracking, guys. There's your heart rate monitoring as well. There's your stress level. And once again, there's your body composition. So you can go in and you can kind of see how you're actually doing. And you do want to take a running tally of this every so often just to keep it up to date. You do have your blood oxygen saturation levels as well. Again, everything is really in here that people wanted in a smartwatch, and everything's here that I would want in a smartwatch. Speaker and microphone, so you can make and take phone calls from your wrist. Now I just noticed I have a little bit of a scratch right there. I don't know if it's picking up on camera. So I've definitely scratched this somewhere along the way, and I've only had it for about 3 weeks or a month right now. So I'm not too sure how this titanium build is actually going to hold up over time. That's really interesting. I never noticed that until right now. But otherwise, guys, it's a very nice looking watch once again. I think Samsung designed a very nice looking watch. But let's talk about battery life, because battery life is something that's really important when you have one of these pucks on your wrist. You always want to be able to tell the time. Now, thankfully, Samsung does have an always on display here, which I actually have turned off just because it's going to use a lot more battery life, and I'm trying to save as much battery life as possible. I had high hopes for this watch when it came out. 590 milliamps sounds like a lot. And quite honestly, 2.5 days, maybe 3 days is what you're going to get from this watch. At least that's what I've been getting. And that's not even with using GPS that often. It's just basically using this as a smartwatch, checking notifications, maybe a phone call here and there. But 2.5 days at the most, when I had always on display off and it was pretty much a lazy day, I was just watching TV. I did get about 3 days, barely I got 3 days, but I'd say you guys should expect anywhere from 2 to 2.5, and at this price point at 500 bucks, I think that's a little bit unacceptable in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is, again, $500, you're getting into a really nice Garmin territory, a Venue 2 Plus. Now, I'm not pushing either one. It's just overall usage as a smartphone lover, as a smartphone enthusiast. $449, I believe $449, just call it $500 after tax for both of these watches. Speaker and microphone, up to 9 days of battery life on this little Garmin Venue 2 Plus here. And it pretty much is going to give you almost everything that you want from a watch. If you're into fitness, you're going to get a lot more information from the Venue 2 Plus. But again, guys, it's about the Samsung Galaxy Watch, and it's about style. It's about having the latest Galaxy wearable on your wrist. And you really can't beat all of these apps. That's something that a Garmin watch isn't going to give you. But again, I'm just saying all of this because Samsung's calling this a pro watch, and they really kind of push the fitness aspect of it. And I just don't think they're there yet. But as a smartwatch, I think this is a really nice watch. I think they did a nice job with the screen. Samsung screens are always top-notch in my opinion. And having the Google Play Store means you can download your favorite applications right to the watch itself. So you can look at your security cameras, for example. You can use Google Fit. There's Google Wallet. You also have Spotify. So it's a very functional watch. It's a very nice smartwatch indeed. I just think the price point's a little bit too high. Now, again, it all depends on how much you're willing to spend on a watch. Now, I bought it because I got a really good deal on their Samsung trade-in. So I really only spent about 150 bucks on this watch, which I think it's well worth the upgrade for 150 bucks. But if I was in the market for a new watch today, I would say buy the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. I really don't know if this watch is worth 500 in my opinion. I really don't see the upgraded value of the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. What do you think about the Galaxy Watch 5 here? Again, it's a beautiful design. Sapphire screen can't be built. This titanium build might be a little bit iffy in my opinion. I really don't know where that scratch came from, but it's right there on the side. And now that I've seen it, I'm not going to be able to unsee it. But again, I think Samsung included pretty much a lot of technology in here. I just don't know if it's a worthy upgrade. It's kind of like an S year in my opinion. But that's just my thoughts, just as my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. I always value your opinion. I do like the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. I'm a little upset about the actual physical rotating bezel that's gone. This digital one, as you can see, it's smudging up the screen, and I think that was the point of the actual rotating bezel, was to keep your screen clean. But it's here. I really haven't used it, to be honest with you guys. It's not something that I've done. It's not something that I'm really interested in, is that rotating, well, non-rotating digital crown. But as a watch, as a fitness watch, for basic, everyday step tracking, everyday heart rate tracking, blood oxygen, sleep tracking, if that's your thing, this is a great watch, no doubt about it. This is really a great watch. If you can get it on sale, definitely pick it up. That's just my opinion. And I'm just a little disappointed. It's not just Samsung. I think all of these manufacturers have gone a little bit too crazy with this Pro name. There's really not anything pro about it. I mean, that's like me using a pickup truck and calling myself a pro, even though I do nothing with it. It's just a name, guys. Instead of calling it the Galaxy Watch 5 Premium, which I think sounds a little bit better because, you know, premium just means a higher value. I think Pro stands for something different. Pro stands for professional, at least where I come from. And I don't really see anything professional about this. Same with the Google Pixel Buds Pro. I don't see anything pro about a pair of headphones in my ear. And the same goes for the Apple Watch Pro. Now, I haven't tested that out, but it's probably going to be the same thing. That's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you think about it, but I always appreciate you watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you in another video.